Welcome back to Ivy Joe's Reviews. Today we are reviewing the sequel known as Black Phone 2 starring Ethan Hawke. This sequel to the suspenseful horror film of the same name, was originally based off the written material of Joe Hill, the son of Stephen King. The Black Phone was original and a great step for the young writer setting his own path away from his father. However, with this entry into horror, Black Phone 2, no matter how much he is involved, is a derailment of that journey. Black Phone 2 is definitely one of those films we could not solidly recommend. One of the issues we see in this film is the focus on the characters. Here we have Ethan Hawke as the main villain called the Grabber. You would think he would have the chance to play the psychological foil like in the first film. Unfortunately, the focus is on the little sister Gwen Blake, now all grown up, played by Madeline McGraw. Even Finn Blake, played by Mason Thames, takes a back seat in this film. Whereas in the first film, the psychological trauma revolved around the Grabber, Finn, and the spectral victims of the Grabber. With Gwen and their father Terrence, played Jeremy Davies, playing a secondary role. This focus in turn pushes the secondary cast, the additions of MiguelCazarezMora and Damien Beecher, a tier below in everyone else when it comes to character development in this sequel's storyline. We will not go too much into spoilers about this movie, because it also tried very hard to prove that the story was set in the 1980s. The fashion, the slang, and the mention of the group, Duran Duran, all seemed forced. In the same way, someone cites an incorrect fact during a losing argument. It is just that bad. The final straw that broke the camel's back for us was the similarities to other 1980s horror villains. The Grabber was in a sense a classic serial killer, but with a twist. Add to that as Finn found out the Grabber's victims were haunting his killing zone, to help Finn stop the Grabber once and for all. In this film again, spoiler alert, we had more of the Grabber's past victims reach out from beyond the grave to shed light on his crimes. But now the Grabber was coming for Finn and especially Gwen in their dreams. Just like Freddy Krueger, and some of the scenes were reminiscents of the old Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Then someone added in children in a lake and a summer camp in the winter, a la like Friday the 13th, and you cannot help but groan at the obvious similarities. We were in fact absolutely done when the Grabber in spirit form was skating across the ice. Yes, the Grabber was trying to stop the group, Gwen gathered to find the missing kids in the lake. But I am pretty sure in the 100 years of cinema there was a horror film or B-movie that had a horror villain slashing his victims on a lake. If not, this would be the only original thing about this film. When it comes to people were attacked near a lake, where Friday the 13th and The Burning are a few of the movies we can think of. And the fact Black Phone 2 centered along this location for the majority of the action made it boring as hell. We definitely liked the first film, but if we could do it over, we would skip watching this film altogether. Our recommendation is to wait until it is offered free, on whatever streaming service you have, then renting it. If you have or do watch, please leave us a comment below on what you thought of the movie. Especially if you can think of what possible improvements could have been done to the areas of characterization, focus, or even the overall storyline which could have helped Black Phone 2 out. Or maybe you felt that the sequel was great. Please have no fear. Tell us what parts you liked about this film. Again, thank you for listening to Ivy Joe's Reviews. Please like, comment and subscribe, and see you next time.